Hello, it's April from April's Home, and today I'm making another holiday cookie recipe. This is a recipe for my white chocolate cranberry cookies, and this is also a fairly easy recipe. It is going to start with the base of the traditional Toll House cookie recipe that you would make for, say, chocolate chip cookies. But instead of chocolate chips, we're swapping those out for white chocolate chips and craisins. So you will need flour, baking soda, salt, 2 eggs, sugar, vanilla, a bag of white chocolate morsels, 2 sticks of butter, some craisins, and brown sugar. You'll also need a mixing bowl and your electric mixer. Okay, so I've started by preheating my oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and now I'll go ahead and add my ingredients to the mixing bowl here. We'll need 2 1/4 cups of flour. There's 2 cups and 1/4. We'll need a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of salt. There. And I just like to kind of distribute it over the top of the flour. I'm going to kind of incorporate that together, and then I'm going to set this mixing bowl aside and grab my next bowl. So technically you'll need at least 1 mixing bowl and then something to mix your dry ingredients in if you want to do that separately. So before I add in the sugars, I'm going to go ahead and melt my butter. Not all the way melted, but almost all the way melted. Okay, so I've got my partially melted butter, and I'm going to add it to my mixing bowl here. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my sugars. I'm going to add 3/4 cup of granulated sugar and 3/4 cup of brown sugar. So 1/4 cup, 2, and then 3. And then we have our 3/4 cup of brown sugar. And I do like to pack the brown sugar in, and I like to do it in the little 1/4 cups, and I'll just do 3 of these. So that way there's no air in the middle. Let me make sure to get the full 3/4 cup. There we go. Okay, so now with my electric mixer on a nice low speed, I'm going to go ahead and blend this all together. That way the butter and the sugar will completely incorporate. And now we'll go ahead and add in the eggs and the vanilla. The recipe calls for a teaspoon of vanilla, but I always measure my vanilla by the capful. So there is a capful, which is usually about a teaspoon. Occasionally I'll add a little bit more. But with the white chocolate morsels in here, I think I'll have plenty of that sort of flavor. And then I'm going to crack my 2 eggs. And then we'll go ahead and mix this all together. Just want to make sure to get that all blended smoothly. And then now we can go ahead and mix in the flour. I'm going to do about half at a time. So we'll do that flour first, and then we'll add the rest. And now for the rest of the flour. Okay. We'll want to make sure to scrape the sides and bottom to make sure that no flour is left at the end, so we get everything blended together perfectly. Okay, now it's all mixed together, and it's time to add our craisins. So I'm going to add a cup full of craisins. I like it nice and full of cranberries. And next we'll add in some white chocolate chips. I'm going to start with about 3/4 of this bag. And after I mix it, if it looks like it needs a little bit more, I'll add more. But I don't want it to be overwhelmed with white chocolate, so that there's a nice balance between the white chocolate and the cranberries. There's a little bit left in here. We'll go ahead and blend this together and see how that looks. I think I'll add just a few more, but save a little bit left in the bag there. You can add the whole bag if you want, but I think I will stop here so that they're not overly sweet. They're going to be very sweet as it is. White chocolate chips are very sweet. Okay, so we've got it all blended together. I'm going to use my rubber scraper here just to make sure that no flour or dry ingredients got missed being mixed in. and it looks good to me. So now I've got my cookie scoop here, and I'm gonna go ahead and line a baking sheet with parchment paper, and we'll get these baking. Okay, so I've got my baking pan ready and I've lined it with parchment. I would highly encourage you to use parchment paper. It makes cleanup and baking so easy. The cookies don't stick to the parchment paper and seem to cook up a little bit better. So I'm just going to take a cookie scoop here and I'll put 8 out on the sheet. And we have our first batch ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to go ahead and bake these at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 9 to 11 minutes. So with my first batch, I always check them even a little bit sooner than the 9 minutes. So I'll probably check these at 8 minutes and see how much more time they need. And I'll go ahead and let you know how long this first batch took. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven, and I'll be back to show you what they look like when they're all baked. Here's my first batch out of the oven. You want them golden brown around the edges and a little bit lighter colored in the center. I like to leave them on the hot cookie sheet for about a minute, and then I'll use a spatula to move these over to a cooling rack. So I'm going to go ahead and bake up the rest of these cookies, come back and show you what they look like all set out on my platter. So here are my white chocolate cranberry cookies all baked and out of the oven. They are on the cooling rack here. You can see that they look like a good, just classic, delicious cookie. I love the flavor of cranberry and white chocolate together. So these are definitely one of my favorites. So I'm gonna let these cool the rest of the way and then get them on a cookie tray. And here they all are sitting out on their tray, ready for our family dinner night. We're having 4 different Christmas cookies tonight for family dinner. So I will be sharing all of those recipes. I'm making a molasses cookie, a Cool Whip lemon crinkle, and these Thin Mint cookies, and these white chocolate cranberry cookies. So I'm really excited to serve these tonight. I'll be sending the kids home with cookies for their house. I'll pack those in boxes for them. And yeah, so it'll be a very fun treat. I'm breaking up my Christmas cookies. I used to just do them all on the week of Christmas. This time I'm kind of spreading them out throughout the month of December. I think it's a little funner that way, and we can enjoy the individual cookies for a little bit longer throughout the month. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at these white chocolate cranberry cookies. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe for more videos from April's Home. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.